Hello, welcome to this week's episode of What One Thing, One Business, One Story, and One Lesson to take away in action every week for small business owners looking to grow. I'm Hayley Baxter.
And I'm Phil Davenport, and we have the pleasure today of talking to Jade Hallam. Jade, may we start with a few simple questions to kind of give us an overall picture of your business, if you will?
Absolutely, go for it, Phil.
Love it. How long have you been in business?
So I started freelancing in 2018, and then CleverClicks was launched in early 2022. So
Wow,
about 3.5 years as CleverClicks now.
nice. And do you employ any staff?
We do, yeah. So we're a team of 4, and then we have a great support network as well that help us with a bit of overflow work.
I love it. And do you sell business to business or business to consumer?
We're B2B, so we support other businesses with their marketing efforts.
Lovely. And I'm nearly done with these, by the way. Are you the sole owner or part of a team of directors?
So I'm the founder and 75% shareholder alongside my business partner, Jake.
Cool. And that answers our next question as well. So, Jade, if you will do, tell us about what ignited your spark to start your own business and how life was like pre-business and then in the early days.
So it was a bit of a journey, really. I left college at 17. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I always thought I'd go to uni, but got to the end of college and I was like, I just don't want to go. Started looking online for apprenticeships and I found one for digital marketing and social media. Um, Again, I was always very logical. I was quite creative, good at ICT, good at English. And I thought, actually, yeah, this is something that I could probably do. And I remember that first role, again, I wouldn't say I had a passion at that point, but I definitely started getting into it. And then it was the next role I went to. I had a fantastic manager and he taught me about SEO. And that really ignited my spark. And I knew from then really that it's what I wanted to do. Moved on to sort of several of the roles after that, SEO executive and then a senior SEO executive. And I was doing sort of bits of freelance on the side when I was working for those agencies. And then in 2018, I got pregnant with my son. And I thought, if I'm ever going to do it, now's the time to do it. So at 4 months pregnant, I quit my job and thought, yeah, I'm going to be a freelancer and never looked back from there, really. I just loved it. I loved having full ownership of all the accounts and being able to say, yeah, these are the results that I've got by working with these businesses. And like I say, as a data person, as a logical person, being able to use data and analyze it and make things work off the back of it was really exciting for me.
I love it. I mean, you've aged me a little bit there when you said ICT. I had to have a little think back to to what that meant, and I work in IT, which is shocking.
Yeah, you took the C out. I don't understand that.
So I love that kind of journey because you've just really ploughed forward from being a solopreneur or freelancer into your own business or being employed and into your own business. What did an average day look like to you once you'd started freelancing?
Well, juggling kids and business is hard work, but luckily, so my partner had a landscaping business at the time and he was sort of paying all the bills and keeping things ticking. So for me, it was just sort of, let's just see if this works and see if I can be a solo entrepreneur. So it'd be, get the kids up in the morning, get them off to childcare, and then just absolutely work my backside off trying to get as many clients as I could. Before he started landscaping, he used to work in a mobility company and he used to travel around the country delivering mobility scooters and selling them to firms. And whilst he was there, he'd go, oh, you could really do with some marketing. And he'd give them my business card. And all of a sudden, I had a portfolio of mobility shops that I was doing marketing work for. So that's how it all started. And then from there, again, I just sort of started contacting people and relationships I already had in the industry. Again, I was doing it quite cheap because I didn't have any overheads. So a lot of them, I could get them to move over to me and it just sort of expanded from there. I mean, as a freelancer, I never did any self-promotion. Everything I got was word of mouth, just purely off the results that we got. So, yeah, it was a bit of everything. I mean, you have to wear a lot of hats when you're self-employed and you don't have a team. I was the accountant, Hayley. I was the marketing manager. I was the person doing the work. I was the account manager. So yeah, it's a lot to juggle. But it was always really exciting because I had a wide variety of clients and it made sure that every day was interesting.
Even though people tell you and say it to you, I don't really think until you live it, you really and appreciate what that's quite like. Uh, what's one decision that you made early on that you're glad you did?
I think just diversifying and taking risks. So a lot of people in digital marketing, they find a strategy that works and they sort of cling to it. Whereas the algorithms are changing all the time, there's industry advancements pretty much every day. So keeping on top of it and being adaptable was like a key thing. In terms of an actual decision, again, I was always part of a great freelancer network. So if there was anything that I wasn't an expert in, so my background's in SEO, but I'd get people wanting me to do PPC, I'd get people wanting me to do email and design and all these other things that I could do, but I wasn't an expert in. So I'd often bring in other freelancers to help so that I could charge a rate and just sort of skim a bit off the top to maintain them relationships and help them build their overall strategy.
And when you were in your kind of freelancer peer groups, did you get business advice from them as well? Did you share your kind of business experiences, or was it a pure kind of network of passing leads, if you will, do, and collaborating on projects?
I mean, everything. So even now, I'm part of different networks, some for business, some for, just women in tech and stuff like that. And anytime you have a problem, so sometimes we'll get a really challenging client, and not the client themselves, they're lovely, but, just a website that you're working really hard on and you've tried loads of different things and nothing's really working the way it should. And you can just open it and, Women in Tech has a network of nearly 80,000 lovely women in it. And just the advice that you can get from it is really helpful. And then all of a sudden you try something, you're like, that's the golden ticket, that works. Obviously the referrals are great. Keep passing me the referrals, but yeah, it is more than that. It's sort of sharing that knowledge and helping everyone succeed.
And the journey from being a freelancer to actually going all in, because freelancing can be really good, be really lucrative. I know lots of people that do that and they love it and they do it for a long time. So what made you decide to go all in and down that kind of proper business route?
So what we found is that during COVID, it changed the landscape massively for digital marketing. And all of a sudden, I had more work than I can cope with. I was using the freelancers far more than I needed to be. And I was like, I'm a freelancer using freelancers. It just doesn't really make sense anymore. It got to the point where sometimes I was turning work away and I was like, this is just, as a business person, this is not what I want to be doing. So, like I say, then I was like, let's just do it. Let's just go for it, launch an agency and see how it goes. So, we launched in January 2022. The same month, I took on my first member of full-time staff. Sam, he's still with us now. And yeah, sort of the rest is history from there. It was supply and demand. And I knew I wanted to grow. And like I say, I was wearing that many hats that I couldn't, although we were getting a lot of referrals, I couldn't do any self-promotion. I couldn't do any marketing for us. So by freeing up my capacity slightly, it just made us a stronger team.
Completely love that. The question that I always kind of ask, and I'm probably a little bit wilder or more kind of prone to quick decisions than Hayley. Did you plot out your journey? Did you kind of take on a business coach and think, here's where we're going to start and here's our growth points? Or did you just say, you know what, we've got too much work coming in, I'm going to start an agency and things are going to grow?
There was absolutely no planning involved. I literally woke up one morning and I was like, yeah, right, I've had enough now. Let's just go for it. Like I say, my business partner is also my fiance and he's like my biggest cheerleader. So he was like, you can do it. Just, yeah, you'll be fine. I mean, I could tell him that I wanted to climb Everest and I'm an absolute cabbage. And he'd be like, yeah, just do it. You'll be fine. So sometimes that bit of encouragement just really helps to get things off the ground. But it's like he said, because we were stable, like financially and everything else, there was no real risk to it. So it was just like, well, we'll just see how it goes and we'll try our best. And if it doesn't work out, I can still carry on freelancing anyway.
Love it. Absolutely love it. So from the early days when you were freelancing and wore every hat to starting an agency and probably finding that you've got even more hats, how
Yeah.
does your day to day differ from that start period? How does today look compared to how it did when you were first starting out?
Massively different. So at the start of this year, I sort of had a realization that I was working too much in the business still and not for the business. And I did actually take on a consultant at the start of this year because I was like, we've been winging it all this time. It's been going great. Like revenue's been up every year and clients are growing, but I think we can do more. Like, I think this is the time to really accelerate the growth. So I took on a business consultant, fabulous lady, and she really helped me sort of actually plan ahead and set goals, both personal and for the business, just to sort of get everything in line and start planning. So I'd say at the start of this year, 90% of my time was on client calls, on client work. Obviously, we've had an accountant since the start. Hayley, I don't know how you do it. I cannot stand accounting. It's the worst job in the world. But again, just bringing other people in and getting that support system in place where actually I don't need to be doing the VAT returns. I don't need to be on every single client call. I don't need to be the one doing the strategy. That's why I've hired a team of experts. And I say control freak, they say perfectionist, but I don't like letting go of things because, like I said, I love to know that the results are great, and we've been obviously monumental in creating those. So letting go of things, even though I've got a team of specialists who can more than deal with it, was really hard. But I've gone from sort of 90 and 10 to about 40-60 now. So 40% of my time's on client work, and I still oversee all the big accounts. I still do a lot of the strategy work. But actually now a lot of my time is on growing the business, networking, and doing all the other things that I should have probably been doing before now.
Stepping into that business owner role is one of the most challenging things to do. Are there any practical things that you can share that has helped you in that journey? Because it's really scary letting go, and being confident that it will be done as good as you, if not better, the way that you were doing things.
Yeah. I think the main thing is just like hiring decisions. So when we get someone to join the team, obviously experiences is important, but actually having someone who's likable, having someone who's approachable and fits into our ethos at Cleverclicks is really important, because when you have a staff member who you can communicate with, it's a lot easier to let go of things, because I suppose it's almost a bit of reassurance. And when you see it with your own eyes that the stats are improving, the clients are really happy, then it's a lot easier to take a step back from it. So yeah, I'd say hiring is a key thing. Another thing that's really helped us is we have a team tracking software called Teamwork, and that allows us to map out all our projects for the month, track all the time, and see what everyone's on at any given time, essentially. And that way I can still have an overview. And if a client emails me for whatever reason and says, oh, has this been done? I can literally just go on, check, yeah, it's been done, or they're on it tomorrow. And again, it just sort of simplifies everything from our end.
I love that. I mean, you've made two kind of classic what one thing points, if you will do. One of them is hiring for culture, which is something that we hear about more and more. Hiring somebody based on how they present themselves, how they think, how they talk, because you can kind of train somebody with the knowledge, but you can't necessarily train somebody with the culture if they're completely different.
Exactly, yeah.
And then the second piece that I really like, because I have the same issue with our team, is that a customer will randomly call you up and think that you are 110% working on their project and aware of it, and having those tools at hand to quickly track things and look at where they are means that I've just had some super zoom there, means that you really can be on every project and you can be overseeing everything. So I'm loving those points.
And you said at the beginning about how a lot of your first clients came from word of mouth and say championing you all around mobility ops. I totally love that. How's it changed now? How do you generate new business leads today?
So as of right now, word of mouth is still our biggest source of work coming through the door. I think, again, we do things slightly different to the average agency. So a lot of agencies, they'll lock you in for 6-12 months at a time, to fairly fierce contracts. Our contracts are 30 days, they can be cancelled at any time, and that puts a lot of trust in us from people. And we've still got a retention rate of 92%, whereas the average retention rate for an agency is about 40-50%. So people stay with us because of the results they get. We just ask them, we say, look, you're doing great. Have you got any friends with businesses that you think we could help? And a lot of them will happily refer us to their friends, family, business friends, whatever it might be. So that is still our main source of work. This year, again, completely new strategy to what what we've been doing previously. We're getting a lot through LinkedIn at the minute. We're getting more and more through the website. And then obviously I met you two guys at the Chesterfield Business Expo. So that's something new we've been trialing this year. We booked 4 expos. We've done 3. We've got one in November in London. And we're just sort of seeing the response. Some of them have been really profitable. Some of them we've had nothing from. But at the same time, we're getting the brand out there. We're nurturing leads that, okay, the startups at the minute, they can't afford what we have to offer. But actually, 2 years down the line, we've gave them some really good advice, and we're hoping that they remember us for that.
I suppose networking, business expos, LinkedIn, all of these, to me, I mean, again, as an IT business owner, all of them are a little bit fairy dust-esque, that you kind of, you pump the gas, don't you, on your LinkedIn, and you post everything. And sometimes you have fantastic results early doors and you think this is brilliant, but then you realise you're playing a fruit machine and actually you just got a jackpot on your first pound, and overall you're going to keep investing, but it's not got the return. What advice would you give for somebody on which marketing channels to highlight and which way to go with that?
So it very much depends on the business. Different channels work better for different types of businesses. If you're an e-commerce business that's B2C compared to an accountant or an IT firm that's B2B, the way you'd approach it would be very different. And again, that's the sort of start of what we do at Clever Clicks. Before we even start pricing things up, we say, these are the channels you need to be on. Because a lot of people will come to us and like, we want to do PPC. And I'm like, no, you don't. Wrong place, wrong time. This is where you need to be putting your money in. This is where you need to be putting your efforts. I suppose you just need to look into your audience. Where are your audience? Are they on Facebook or are they on LinkedIn? Are they on Google or are they on Bing? And there's a lot of things that go into that depending on whether it's B2B, B2C, age, gender. There's lots of different ways people search. Obviously, ChatGPT is a massive referral source for a lot of people now. So you're constantly adapting to the industry shifts and making sure you're ahead. That's why working with an agency or a freelancer can be really beneficial, because if you've only got a small budget, you need to be putting it in the right place.
That is real fantastic advice. I love that. I did think at one moment it might turn into a rap where you were saying, are you Facebook or are you LinkedIn? Are you Google or are you Bing? That's an idea I'm going to let you take forward for free though, Jade. I need you to know that.
Thanks, Phil. I really appreciate that.
I think that was such a huge point that you just dropped there though. And it's not about, as you say, I had to think about PPC, pay-per-click, or Google Ads, or that there isn't one size fits all, but you've got to think about that audience, who you're trying to sell to, and which watering holes they're at. I think that's another really great point.
Yeah, and again, that's where a lot of businesses get it wrong, because they'll channel all their energy into one channel with no A/B testing, no prior insight into if that's even the right place for them. And then they'll go, oh, we don't want to do this because it's not working, and we've tried that before and it didn't work, but they weren't trying it in the right way with the right messaging in the right place. And then often they come to us and they go, well, how come it's working now and it's not worked for the last 2 years? Well, because it's being done the right way now.
I think that resonates for me with outsourcing as a whole. So we look after so many PCs and so many customers, and we steal ideas from each one and we look at the best practices in each one. It's one thing to read the book, and a lot like your business coach, it's another thing to get a business consultant on board who's lived it, who's got maybe 10 or 15 other businesses under their kind of umbrella and is seeing where the results are working, as opposed to reading an online guide that's maybe 2 years old or trying to go out on your own.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's a conversation we have all the time, because in digital marketing, there's lots of free resources available. If you've got the time to plow into marketing, anyone can learn to do it. But again, as a business owner, you need to focus on what you're doing in your business and how it's growing, which is obviously where agencies and external support come into play.
You've had an amazing journey in such a short space of time. What's one area in your business at the moment that you're still looking to work on and improve on?
Well, that's a really good question. You've thrown me off guard, Hayley. I don't know. There's lots of areas. There's lots of things that we're trying to get into at the minute that we've never explored before for ourselves. Obviously, being a digital marketing agency, we're very good at marketing. However, all our competitors are also very good at marketing. And some of them have 20, 30 years ahead of us, and it's really hard to build up that reputation and actually make a name for yourself within this industry. It's very hard. So yeah, I suppose this year, like I say, we've gone really hard at it. Across every channel, we tried PPC, we've been on Facebook, we've been doing our own SEO. Like I say, we've been hard on LinkedIn, we've been doing the in-person stuff. So for the first year, really, since January, this is the year that we've tried pretty much every channel for ourselves and just saw what worked and what didn't. Because again, this is probably the hardest thing to market, is marketing.
I love that. That was a really honest answer. And I do believe, to add to all the things you've been trying this year, I saw that you won an award.
We did, yes, thank you. We've actually won 3 so far this year. So in the UK Enterprise Awards, we won the Client Service Excellence Award and Best Boutique Digital Agency. And then in the UK Startup Awards just gone, which is probably the one you've seen because it's a bit more high profile, we won the Advertising, Marketing and PR Award. So yeah, it was really nice for the team to get together. Because we all work remotely as well, it's not very often that we actually get together as a team in person, and a lot of wine was drunk that night. So yeah, it was a really good night out.
You've hit us with some absolute gold. I'm trying to think of all the points. Which watering holes your customers are at, bringing on the business consultant. I loved your line about trying to market against other marketers as well, and what works for you. There's generally, we talk about 4 levers in business. We can bring on board new customers. We can increase services or revenue with existing customers. We can cut costs, or we can improve efficiency internally. What one thing would you want to recommend to other business owners that's really helped you skyrocket your business and, of course, win awards?
I think there's been multiple things, but one thing that really helped us sort of over the last 12 months was increasing prices. So because I came from that freelancer background where I was very cheap, and some of them clients from 6 years ago are still with us now, and some of them were on really old legacy rates. And one of the first things the business consultant said to me in January is like, why the heck are you even profitable? I was like, yeah, but they were my first customer and I really liked them and I don't want them to leave. And they're like, but you're not making any money. Like, you're just being a bit of a busy fool. And I was like, right, okay. So again, we've grown a lot since then in terms of our overall pricing. We didn't sort of jump it up £40 an hour, but gradually we've started to put those retainers up. We did lose some. Quite frankly, we lost some clients end of last year. It hit us quite hard because again, they were sort of legacy clients who have worked with us for a long time. But we've since replaced them with much more profitable retainers. So we're doing the same amount of work and earning a lot more money, which has made us more profitable. Even with increasing the rate, we are still very competitive in our niche. So a lot of, average agency rate across Nottingham is about £125 an hour. We're nowhere close to that, but you get all the same creativity, expertise, and data-led insights as you would with one of the big agencies.
Every single client that I have a conversation with, that price piece is a definite block. And if you can get to grips with it and really implement those changes, which it sounds like you have, it's a different business that you end up with. It absolutely is. So I think that what one thing is, it's a great one.
I loved that what one thing, because I think, and we talk about in our peer group, that it's not just right customer, it's right customer at right price. So you need to find customers that you want to work with, but also customers that value your time, because you can then value your staff's time. You can pay your staff fairly, you can pay them well, they're interested and excited to work on the customer's contract, you're interested and excited. And sometimes we find, in the IT world, you get somebody that says, I don't log any tickets, I'm not that bothered about cybersecurity, blah, blah, blah. And when you begin in business, you want to force your product on them. You say, look, we can do something, we can work with you, can do. But actually, now I find myself saying, look, we're not the right match for you then. If you're not that worried about cybersecurity, if you're not worried about backups, etc., then we're not the right match. I'm sure somebody out there would love to kind of take you on. And quite often in sales negotiations, that actually turns round and they say, well, no, I do want to work with you. I do take this seriously. Look, I can come up in price, what kind of value, etc. So I love that piece.
Yeah, being able to pick who you work with that's where it gets exciting, because when you are a freelancer and you're trying to build up this name for yourself, you'll take on pretty much anything. You'll take on anything, as many people as you can, just trying to get your foot in the door. Whereas now we are in the privileged place that we speak to people and I'm like, great, good luck on your journey. You might come back to us at one point, but for now, see you later. And again, we've done a lot of proposals and stuff where people are like, no, you're too expensive, we're not coming to you. And then they go with another agency and a year later they're coming back and going, do you still have availability to work with us? It's not really worked out with the other agency. And we're like, okay, but we need to discuss, because things have changed since then, and what was right for you then might not be right for you now. And yeah, like I say, we don't hold any grudges, but it's definitely a little bit bittersweet when people come back.
Beautiful. Jade, it has come to that point in the podcast to give us a shameless plug. Tell me, what's next for your business? Share a little about yourselves, where to connect, your ideal client, who you'd love to work with.
Okay, so like I say, this is the year for Clever Clicks. We're planning to expand the team again later this year. We've got a key hire that we want to make, which will just make us very powerful in terms of the staffing we've got on board. We're also doing a lot in terms of technology and AI. So we're revolutionising systems that don't currently exist. And again, that's just going to help our clients in a way that you couldn't imagine. So yeah, it's Clever Clicks to the moon this year. You'll probably see us about, like I say, we're doing lots of brand stuff. We're talking to lots of people. I've got some public speaking coming up. I can't mention where at the minute, but you might see me on stage very soon. And yeah, like I say, we're doing what we've always done. We're providing the absolute best service to our customers as possible and hoping to expand our network and continue doing more of that, really.
I love it. And what is the best way to get in touch with you, Jade?
So you can get in touch with me via our website, www.clever-clicks.co.uk, or Jade Hallam on LinkedIn.
Fantastic.
Really interesting to hear about your business journey. Thanks so much for joining us. We hope you found one thing to help move your business forward.
Thank you for having me, both of you.
I love it, Jade. If you did find this podcast useful, please do us a favour, share this episode with someone else who's on the same journey, and we'll see you next time on What One Thing.